Are you longing to feel connected and not so alone? Longing to be happy and more alive? Badass Counseling is excited to announce the creation of Community Plus, a subscription-based private group of folks just wanting to more closely share their soul journey together with like-minded folks and with me, Sven. For a monthly fee, you'll get bi-monthly live Q&As with me, Sven, giving you a better chance of getting your own questions answered. A private community feed for you to post pictures, successes, struggles, joys, even the occasional cat picture, creating greater connection and help for healing and growth. Random drawings for free small group sessions and drawings for private coaching sessions with me. Priority access to becoming a guest on the Badass Counseling Show podcast. Unlimited access to my DIY video courses, Healing the Soul and Unleashing Your Greatness. And so much more. Community Plus is for people serious about their soul journey who want real growth, real help, real laughter, real connection, and true community. Join us now at badasscounseling.com.
From the New York City area, welcome to the Badass Counseling Show, where the master badass himself, Sven Erlandson, takes you deep and gives balm for the soul, baby.
Hello, it's great to have you here on the Badass Counseling Show. I am Sven Erlandson, the host of it. We create, hopefully, healing on this show. That's the intent. And it's wonderful what happens on this show. People come on our show and we offer counsel and listen and compassion, but in a sort of assertive / aggressive way. We have our own sort of style here, and if you follow us, you know that to be the case. And we so often don't think compassion and sort of aggressiveness can go together, but oddly, they can. And for some folks, that's just the sort of cocktail that they like. Not every cocktail at the bar is sweet and fluffy. And as we age, sweet and fluffy cocktails often taste less and less enticing. I like my margarita with a little bite. Rob, are your cocktails sweet? I like one now and then, but what do you like your cocktail to be?
I don't know. Right now I feel like an Aperol Spritz, but generally I'll have an old-fashioned because I am.
See, I never got into old fashions. I love bourbon, but I never got into old fashions, and I don't know why.
They're a little sweet. You probably like it more straight. I understand that.
All right. Well, everybody's different, but my son really hammers me. He says, "Pop, that's a lot of ice in that bourbon there, old man."
Why add water? Just let the ice melt. I understand.
Busting my balls. It's like you 33-year-old peckerhead. All right. I am joined in studio by that voice you hear. I'll get to him in a second, but I am also joined by KC over in the booth. Sophia, the artist, is not in residence today, and I am joined by my ever-faithful friend, Rob the Rocket. Rob, what say ye?
The sun is up, the sky is blue. It's beautiful, and, well, we'll leave it at that.
Indeed, it is beautiful. As always, love this time of year. It was my father's favorite season. He loved the spring. He loved marigolds especially, were my father's favorite flower, an old World War II generation type of guy. Rob, we have two women with us today. Tell us, please, we're going to take them together. But I'm going to talk to Gwen first. Please tell us about Gwen.
Okay, Sven, Gwen wrote in and said, I have recently started your book, Love Cup, and loving it and doing the work. Here's my question. I am not wanting to be involved with my partner's children and grandchildren. I am being pressured by my spouse to meet his grandkids and have been told that my lack of interaction hurts him. I feel guilt and slight emotional backlash. Is this wrong, not wanting to be involved? No ill will toward them at all. The adult kids are living their lives, and I believe in let them. I don't feel my involvement is necessary or why it holds so much water. This doesn't fill my cup. It drains it. I've done my time with kids, and honestly, I'm not a kid person, never wanted children. I did have one of my own at 18, a messy story, and a big factor was being forced to have a child I wasn't intending. From childhood, parentified daughter to a couple years ago, forced motherhood, now an empty nest, I've been doing everything for other people for 40 years. I'm just wanting to regain my life and set boundaries. I feel like a bitch, but I need to stay firm for me and my healing journey. I would like to have a great life with just me and my fella. Am I in the wrong here?
Gwen, great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being with us. I think I can honestly say, Rob, we have never encountered this on the show.
Always hear something new, frankly.
I love it. I love it. I appreciate your honesty, Gwen. Not easy to be honest when you feel like you sound like a bitch and you think people are saying, God, what's her fucking problem? Don't be such an asshole. Come on, right?
Right.
Right. Okay.
Right on the head. Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, you even say that. I feel like a bitch. Okay. Well, let me ask you this then. If I were to force you, because we know you like being forced. I was forced to have a child. I had forced motherhood, and basically now you're being forced to have more children, so to speak. So if I were to force you to give me a percentage, and I'm playfully forcing you here, give me a percentage, if you were to be totally honest, what percent do you honestly feel, if you were to just quiet yourself, just be you, what percent do you genuinely, honestly feel like a bitch? And what percent do you genuinely, honestly not feel like a bitch?
Well, being true to myself, I don't feel like I'm being a bitch. But
so
for
percentage,
my partner.
Right. So you've got conflicting voices inside you because you said, I feel like a bitch, but you just said my true, self, I don't feel like a bitch. So what would you say the percentages are inside of yourself presently as of today?
75 for me, 25 for the bitch.
Okay. 75% not a bitch, 25% bitch. So, and if I'm hearing you correctly, then the 25% I am a bitch is not your voice.
No.
Okay. So that means 1/4 of you, 1/4 of your sense of worth is being determined by an external power source. Would that be safe to say?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And the primary source, or that primary name for that external power source, is
probably my partner.
your partner. Okay. Just so we're fully clear on that. And so that we're continuing to be clear, not that it matters, but I'm curious, do his children see you as a bitch?
I believe so.
I see.
I believe so.
And that's got to hurt.
Yes and no. There's so much backstory that goes with all this.
Of course
so,
there is. At the very least, it's got to hurt that he sees you that way.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's actually we're not together anymore
because of this precise issue.
And some other things that I uncovered just recently. But apparently, this was the reason for his affair.
This is the reason for his affair. I see. So he had an affair. Just so I'm clear, who then chose to separate, you or him?
I moved him out.
You moved him out. I see.
Yeah.
So I moved him out and we are separated. Okay. And that has been quite recent, I assume?
2 weeks today.
So, so this happened since you wrote into the show.
Yes.
I see. I see.
I discovered it. Yes. Yeah.
2 weeks. Okay. So then is it reasonable to assume, well, let me ask you, how much is the whole kid issue that we started the show with even an issue in your life anymore?
Probably, well, he can't figure out what he wants to do. So,
wait a minute. Because you even saying this is an issue, that the kid thing is an issue for you, says you can't figure out what you want to do, young lady, because you moved him out, which implies I don't want you, or at least I'm thinking about not wanting you because you're married, but you didn't divorce, you separated. So you're saying I partly don't want you because I didn't technically divorce, but the mere fact that you're still considering the child issue, if you had divorced him, whether you have a relationship with his kids is not, his kids or not, is a moot point. Who gives a fuck? You're not in a relationship. So you even considering that says you still have 1 foot in the relationship. So couldn't it be argued, and I could be wrong, couldn't it be argued that you don't know what you want?
Well, I know what I would like, but he wants to be on his own and won't give up he won't do a no contact, anything that I've asked. He won't get rid of this person. There's a whole big story to this.
Right. And so then where we're at.
If we were to reconcile, then yes, it would be an issue, obviously,
So then the deeper issue that has revealed itself in the 2 weeks is the cheating. And that, it sounds like in this case, far outweighs the kid issue for you. Is that safe to say?
Oh, right now, sure, yeah. But so, yes.
And have you been cheated on before in your life?
Yes.
And to this magnitude?
Yeah. No, this one is the butt kicker for sure.
And what's the very hardest part?
The betrayal, the lies, if I didn't find out, it never would have been revealed. Yes.
Oh, and
a couple of years.
It's been going on a couple of years.
October 2022 is when, and I just found out the end of January this year.
And you guys have been married for how long?
We've been together 12 years.
Oh, and then he was blaming you for not wanting a relationship with the kids. And even while he's engaged in this relationship, he's demonizing you as the bitch. So he's sitting in the catbird seat, right? He gets to make you the bad person in the relationship while he's off cheating. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's rich. Oh, wow. Wow. What a fucking dick.
Yeah.
What a dick.
Along with and gaslighting and the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
right in front of our friends.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And best of all, to actually cite as to imply, to openly state, once caught, that there's a justification for my cheating. There's no justification for cheating, period. Not on this show, not in Badass Counseling. There ain't. I know Estelle Perlman or whatever the fuck her name is, Perez, the fuck her name is. She says, oh, no, cheating, men should, whoever that fucking, I'm sure she's a great therapist, but that is the biggest load of horse shit I've ever heard. Anyway, yeah,
there's more to this one too.
Well, wait, there's a little bit more? What's the little bit more?
So he goes away for work.
Yeah.
We have a pretty fun private life. Let's just put it that way.
All right. We all know what that means. Go ahead.
I gave him, because he's away a lot, I gave him a pass to have a one night stand, but he took it as having a shag that he could constantly basically have a mistress with.
Oh God, that's rich. Okay.
Yeah. And also there is some man life-changing issues with ED and that he wanted to try to spark things up, and somebody new,
of course,
would help benefit us.
Of course, that's the justification.
We would benefit from that.
Of course, we would. I'm doing this for you, honey. I'm doing it because I care.
Yes, but the reason why he felt that he needed spicing up is because I wasn't accepting his son, and, he moved him in, and I bought him. I provided for his son more so than he did when his son moved in.
Wow.
And then he goes on the road to work and leaves his kid with me.
Okay, so then I got to ask. So then let's ask. Let's get down and dirty here. I'm going to ask one question, then I want to flip over here to Talia.
Yeah.
And the one question I want to ask, and this is the hard question.
Sure.
This is the hard question. You had motherhood forced on you when you were a child, when you were a snot-nosed 18-year-old kid, totally understandable. You had no sense of agency. But now, as an older woman, you had it forced on you. Again, his son living with you, you're doing it. And I get it, wanting to play on a team and all that. But what is it that caused you to allow it? Now, as a grown-ass woman who's been around the block 100 fucking times, Why did you do it this time? Do more for his son than he did and take on his son when deep inside you knew you didn't want to.
Well, he's an adult. The son is an adult. He moved in at 22.
But but you knew you didn't want him living in your space, right?
Well, the thing is my son had lived with us, so it was only fair for me to, okay, my kid lived with us. So, you have to help out your kid. He was, in a bad situation where he was and needed to come which was fine, but, he didn't have any life skills at all.
So you had to remother someone.
Yes.
Okay.
And, of course I work 4 jobs and,
Wow.
I don't have time for this. I'm in, I've got businesses and
meanwhile, he's off fucking around. You gave him a one-off. You guys have a playful little play life, and then he takes a one-off and takes it as a one-off.
Couple, yeah.
Right, as a couple, and then he takes it as he gets a one-off whenever he wants the one-off. I'm going to go one-off tonight whenever I want a one-off.
With one person, yeah.
Repeatedly, right. So he has a whole separate relationship, blames you for, not wanting to connect with his kids, and then eventually you discover...
Pushed him away.
You push him away. He gets to blame you for 2.5 fucking years, and you uncover it, throw him out of the house. Which actually, that's an experienced woman's move right there. A woman in
it took a bit.
Yeah,
it took a bit.
Yeah, it does. It does. A woman in her 30s might not have the chutzpah to make that move, but a woman with a bit more age and sort of salt in her to say, get the fuck out. And it still is hard. It still is hard, but I applaud you for doing it.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to take a pause here. Rob, let's flip on over to Talia. Tell us about Talia.
Okay, Sven, a very different kind of relationship issue. Here we go. Talia says, I come from a family of extensive generational trauma. I've been divorced 3 times, and my children have different fathers. My second husband, father of my oldest, passed away in 2021 from COVID. My third husband, father of my youngest, is incarcerated for CSC and is a diagnosed pedophile. We've been in therapy for 7 years. My youngest has no recollection of ever having a father and desperately wants one. I've been in 2 relationships over the last 5 years and find myself unable to bring myself to date currently. I desire to have a lifelong partner and a positive father figure in the home for my youngest. I have completed a hole in my love cup, and it has helped me heal in ways I did not believe was possible. I have no memories of my childhood from age 7 to 9, and I am terrified of digging into that black space. After having danced with the devil in my 3rd marriage, I struggle to trust anyone. With all the pain my children and I have experienced, it just seems easier to stay alone. But that conflicts with my innate desire to connect and give them the family life we all deserve. I am blessed with a wonderful job with a company that has been beyond supportive during all our trauma, and I do not need a partner for financial support. With the help of your book, I discovered why I was picking extreme takers.
Talia, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Sven.
That's a hell of a story, Talia.
Yeah.
Wow. Can I ask, first of all, how old are you?
I am 47.
47. And how old is your youngest?
She is 8.
8, youngster. Okay. And through the help of the book, you discovered why I was picking extreme takers. In one sentence or less, why were you picking extreme takers, Talia?
Emotionally abusive parents and witnessed domestic abuse. There was a lot of sexual abuse within my family. And as great as my father is, he did not pull me out.
And the sexual abuse was it ever committed, to the best of your knowledge, against yourself?
I believe now, after working through your book and knowing the signs of sexual abuse from my own children, that it's likely that blank space in my memory, that something had occurred there. But I don't really have any recollection of it.
But you know what happened in your home with other people in your family, is that correct?
Yeah, it was like extended family members. My own mother was abused sexually.
I see. And you said your father did not get you out of there, which implies your father was not the perpetrator.
Correct.
Well, praise the Lord for that one.
Yeah.
But gosh, it sure would have been nice if father, if you're 47, your father was likely Korea generation or Vietnam generation, still that old enough generation where fathers basically had, two jobs, protect and provide, right? And motherfucker didn't do his one fucking job, right? Top of the list, protect.
We had a big talk about where I needed him to be when I was growing up.
Really? And what did he say?
He actually apologized and told me that all he thought he had to do was provide.
Oh, fuck me. Really? How convenient. Really, the whole protection thing just slipped my fucking mind.
To the wayside.
I didn't get that. Fuck me. Really? Okay. Okay, Dad, whatever, man. I'm just curious, though, just from your perspective. I mean, you know the old man as well as anyone. What did your dad stand to lose if he got you out of there? What was the grand fear? Was it somehow financial? Was it now he has to raise some little fucking snot-nosed kids on his own? Was it he would lose love? He would lose his sex supply? What was it he stood to lose?
I think it wasn't a fear of losing something. I think it was a fear of falling short and being inadequate.
Well, then,
my mom left us when I was 7.
Okay, and inadequate how?
In his ability to take care of me.
So then what he loses then is, yes, his daughters being raised and so on and so forth, but also his own sense of worth as a parent. So he kept you in a situation. So then who, very, very briefly, who was it that you were kept in a situation with?
My stepfather.
So you were with your stepfather and
my mother.
And then your mother died when you were how old?
No, my mom is still around.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're with, and the stepfather was the problematic one, and he was sexually abusing, or just I shouldn't say just, but or abusing in other ways other people in the family.
So he was emotionally abusive to me, and physically and emotionally abusive to my mother, and emotionally abusive to my half siblings that they had together.
And you were potentially sexually molested by whom?
I don't really know.
But if you were to speculate in the whole situation,
I don't think it was him.
Okay.
I think it was before he became a big part of our lives.
So then your father is off the table, though.
Yeah, it wasn't my dad.
Okay.
It wasn't the stepdad.
Mom?
I don't know. I don't know.
You know it wasn't dad, but mom, you don't know. Isn't that fucking interesting? Okay, anyway, so getting back to it then. But so there's this conflict. I'm terrified to trust anyone because of the dance with the devil, because of this own shit from this long checkered past of yours. And then also, but I want to do something for my child. All right. And provide a sort of family, structure, family life we all deserve. Give them the family life we all deserve, you state. The position that you are in, I'll give the short answer first. Now, my listeners do not have audio or do not have video. I have video. They have audio. They can't see that it looks like you just wiped away a tear or two from your eye.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you feeling right now? Give me a feeling word. Let the tears come. It's all right. What are you what are you feeling right now?
It's like a very intense. I can't really put an emotion label to it.
Give me an emotion label. I want an emotional label. Use that big brain of yours and give me name a
trepidation,
feeling.
I guess.
Okay, fear, trepidation, fear. You bet. Rob just passed me a note, and on the note, he caught something that I didn't, and he said, Talia's mother left at age 7.
Yeah.
Exactly when her memory lapse occurred.
Yeah.
At age 7, who were you living with?
She left me with my dad. And then during that time, like at some point, my mom had moved in with an aunt of mine. And I remember going back and forth between my dad and my mom. But I don't really, and at some point my mom moved back into the home and my dad left. But I can't pinpoint like when that was. And most of my life, I contributed the lapsed memories from just the trauma of my mother leaving. Like, it was very sudden. I actually chased her down the road. She kept going. So I always just equated it to that's, of course,
And
I
that,
would
of
block
course,
some things out. Yeah.
absolutely. And that would be huge for any child. Absolutely. And yet you've come to think that there may be more. Why?
Yeah. I don't know how it is for, normal people, but I don't ever remember a time in my life when I learned what sex was. Like, it seemed like I always knew what sex was. And I had a very promiscuous 20s, and going through the healing from what my children experienced and learning about all the signs of child sexual abuse, I had them all.
So then your fear of going into ages 7 to 9 is based on those signs, or is it based on what?
It's based on those signs, and and kind of like, can I really take more? Like, can I really face more than what I already have?
Boy, I hear you on that. I hear you. That is so many people who I counsel. It's just like, I don't want to. It's going to overwhelm me. And will it ever stop? My God. Can I just keep it all locked down? It's too much. It's too much. Before I go to commercial, Gwen, I see you sort of writhing a little bit. What's going on inside of you right now when Talia says, can I really take more? You started sort of shifting a little bit in your chair there. Your head was sort of wrenching a little bit. What's going on inside of you right now, Gwen?
Heartbreak. Absolute heartbreak and devastation from, not just listening to Talia, but, working through my own stuff.
It resonated.
And how much more? Absolutely. How much more can I take?
How much more can I take?
Yeah. I mean, I've been dealing with, because of the gaslighting and stuff. It got to a point where I was getting depressed. I'm actually on some antidepressants because of all of this. And, it's just one of those getting adjusted, and it's just, how much more can I take? It's, broken heart syndrome, literally that as well. Big diagnosed with that as well. So it's just, how much more can you take?
That's exactly right. And this is the universal, time immemorial thing that grips everyone at some point in life, some points in life. And so when we say that life is very fair, when I say that, people say, oh, life's not fair. I say life's very fair. No one escapes life without pain.
Nope.
And it may be when you're 85 and your spouse of 65 years dies. It may be when you're 70 and your spouse leaves you. It may be when you're 45 and your child dies. It may be 8 and your father dies. It may be any number of things. It may be when you're 7 and your mother is driving away and you're chasing her down the driveway. It may be when your husband cheats and blames it on you and blames it on you. It may be any number of things. And how much more can I take? And especially when it's compounded on the other pains of life. Much more to come right after this short break.
So I was telling a buddy of mine how he seems happier. He told me about the book that changed his life. So I bit. I went to the Badass Counseling website and downloaded There's a Hole in My Love Cup audiobook. I started listening to it on my commute home from work, and holy cow, it was a Louisville slugger to the face. I literally sat in my car in the driveway night after night, listening through to the end of a chapter or doing the journaling exercises. My wife started to see changes. I started to change a lot. My default response stopped always being anger. Now, I manage a team of salespeople, and I changed as a leader. I was listening more, not always just reacting. When their numbers started going up seemingly out of nowhere, I knew what the reason was. There's a hole in my love cup is now required listening for any person on my sales team or working for me, and I gladly buy it for them. You gotta listen to this book.
This show provides soul counseling intended to entertain and inform and is not medical advice. Now, back to the badass.
We are back with Gwen and Talia. I want to throw a bit of a curveball here. Right before the break, we were talking about how my two guests dovetailed here on this idea of how much more can I take, that the grief, the pain, the punch in the face that life has brought, and to Gwen, and the punch in the face that Talia thinks may be waiting for her if she goes into those 2 years of 7 to 9 when she was a child, and already feeling punched in the face and beaten and battered, both of them, by years, even decades of suffering. And I do want to come back to that, but I actually want to rewind the tape on something Talia said. And Talia said that she thinks that there probably was sexual abuse, molestation somewhere in those 2 years, 3 years, 7 to 9, because she held all the symptoms, and she's seen some of the stuff in her own kids, and that gave her knowledge about what to look for, and she realized she had some of that. And she mentioned that she knew sexuality early in her life, and she was promiscuous in her 20s. And one of the things that, well, we sort of have a resident expert of sorts, because Gwen admits that by 17, 18, she was pregnant. And so I wasn't a young woman at 17 or 18. I was a young guy. So I want to step out here, and I want to ask Gwen, to the degree you feel comfortable answering, what can you help us understand, Gwen, thinking back as a teenager? Because she's trying to understand without actually going into 7 to 9. She's thinking maybe it did happen at 7 to 9 because as I look back, I realized later in teen years and 20s, I had some of the indicators. Does that mean that it may have happened? And I'm saying, even recognizing that you were a young woman, based on your experiences as a young woman, and if you want to include the pregnancy in that, include it, whatever. Based on your experiences, what were your experiences with sexuality and how that might relate to Talia, and reading into her past on the idea of being sexually molested? And I'm not asking you to be an expert on sexual molestation. I'm just asking you to help us understand the mind of a young girl regarding sexuality. Do you have any thoughts that you might offer here? Because I'm not a woman, obviously.
Well, being a young woman and being sexually active, mid-teens, daddy issues, number one.
Specifically, though, in one sentence or less, what does that mean for you in one sentence or less? Just so we're all crystal clear.
Daddy issues, neglect of fatherly guidance.
Okay.
Not having him present, which I can relate to Talia,
Okay.
him not being around, or, being the protector.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so there's that.
And so you seek it out. From the male attention, right?
Okay.
So, yeah. And that just, as Talia had mentioned, possibly the reasons for her lifestyle in her 20s, being promiscuous and what have you. I did it earlier on. So maybe that is something that is common ground between the two situations.
Thoughts on that, Talia?
I agree. I have such a good relationship with my father now that sometimes I feel bad about being angry about the childhood part of it. And I went back and forth between the two homes in my teens. And he should have done better. He should have got me out of there, and getting that, looking for that protection from a male figure definitely resonates.
Okay. And so in this idea of going into ages 7 to 9 that scares you so much, what do you fear the most? Feeling the feelings, reliving the experience, which you would, the memory, and it's not just the memory itself, it's all the emotional charges that go with it. The fear, the potentially, obviously there's going to be fear, the being frozen, not knowing what to do, being all alone, no one to help you, all the general things that could come up along with it. Okay.
Yeah.
Or feeling all those emotional charges that come with the memory, or is it the implications of that holy shit, no one protected me? Or is it the biggest thing, but I like my dad now. I don't want to hate him for that. What for you, and that's not to say he did it, but, or I don't want to hate anyone. I don't want it to stir up my present life today in any way whatsoever in terms of my relationships with other people. What do you think you would fear the most if you discovered something back there?
The impact on my life today.
Right. Okay. So now what if I were to tell you, you don't have to change a fucking thing today. You don't have to confront a single person. I tell every single one of my clients this. The very second thing that I tell them, I don't need you to confront anyone in order for me to heal you. You don't have to change a fucking thing. You don't need to confront any living, breathing person. I do need you to confront the parent of your past, but they're not living, breathing. They're a chimera, a phantom. But I don't need you to confront the living, breathing person. But we do need to go back and confront that person back there. But you never need to say word one or write a letter or anything that you give to that person ever. If I could promise you that you don't ever have to, I mean, if you choose to in the future, hey, that's up to you, but you would be choosing it. It would be of your own free choice, but I would never make you. I don't need you to do that in order to heal you. So you have this buffer of safety.
Yeah.
If that were possible, and I know that it is, if that were possible, would that give you some measure of safety to take the dive?
I don't know that I could uncover those things and not confront.
Well, now that's a separate issue.
Yeah.
But then it's and whether you confront it or whether or not it would just change it because you choose it. But in that case, you're choosing it.
Yeah. Because there's not a day that goes by that I don't regret not taking an opportunity to off my third husband when I had it. I journal about that anger a lot.
Right.
I don't know that I would be able to confront someone else with that type of mindset. And
and the thing is, the goal is to flush all that out.
Right.
Without the confrontation. You can still do that, but all this stuff can be flushed out. The rage, the hatred, the anger, and the longing, because he's still your father. Obviously, you still want a relationship with him or with mother or whomever you want to confront, to flush out, to purge all the emotion. You can still have that, and but it doesn't have to all be directed at the person. That's why I say I don't need you to confront the person, living, breathing, but we're going to get out all those charges because that's what's got you all choked up inside, all bottled up, such that I can't take any more. On that point, I'm going to flip back over to Gwen. Gwen, you say you can't take any more. What more might there be? Or of the existing situation and all the events and all the emotional charges attached to all of it, what's the biggest fucking charge right now? What is the absolute fucking hardest part right now in one sentence or less, if you were to put it crystal fucking clear?
Just again, the betrayal, the hurt, think the life that I thought I had was not actually the life that was the reality.
And
so,
right, the life I thought I had wasn't the reality.
It wasn't a reality. All the intrusive thoughts and when I was doing this job, where the hell was he and what the heck was he doing? And on that date, he's wishing me happy birthday and sending me flowers as well as sending her flowers for the evening before. Stuff like that.
And the brain is trying to find understanding to put all
Absolutely.
the puzzle together.
Yeah.
Because there's so many unanswered questions. Well, he was saying this, but wait a minute. I want to go back and check the bank account. Motherfucker. He had taken that fucking deposit. Wait a minute. 6 p.m. That wasn't 6 p.m. Wait a minute. I've got this text that says it was fucking 8 p.m. That means from 6 to 8 p.m. Blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden.
Everything. All the pieces.
All
the
the
puzzle
pieces. All the pieces.
Are not jiving.
And they're not. And every new piece hurts. Every new piece is a sting. This is an issue we deal with on the show quite a bit. And it is.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's such a heavy thing.
Yeah.
And so many new insights on it. So let me ask you, and this is a strange question, but you've started to interact with my book, Love Cup, and this notion of deeper messages and stuff going on inside of me, not just what's going on around here, outside of me.
Mm-hmm.
As all this happens, this betrayal and this life that I thought I had wasn't a reality. And now that he has turned his back on you and he wanted someone else, he didn't want me, or he wanted me and someone else, which sort of implies I wasn't enough.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
What bells are that ringing? Is that ringing inside of you? What sort of fucking sticks of dynamite that already existed in me is that lighting? What messages is that drumming back up from your past? Maybe none. But is that reigniting old fucking messages inside of you that were always there?
Well, again, my ex-husband cheated on me, and that's why we split. And my now ex-partner saw me go through all this as we were friends prior to us becoming a partnership. So he saw everything that I went through, and I just almost feel like he took the lessons from my ex and did it, used it against me again.
What is your brain? What is your maybe really old conditioning? What does it say? Well, does it do things like, see, I'm not good enough. See, there it is. There's proof again. Or see, no one's ever going to want me, or what's wrong with me? No one ever wants to stay with me. And maybe your brain doesn't do those things. Some people does.
Yeah, a little bit. Especially, I feel like I'm shooting my own horn, but I helped him. I helped build his business.
I believe
for him.
You. I absolutely believe you.
I put everything I recovered from my divorce from my ex with zero money. I got left with nothing, and I built my life again, but around him, and built him and his career and his business, and put tons of money into it. And then he shits all over me. Like what more? Like I'm very supportive with him and his business and what he does.
So you started a sentence. I want to hear the end of that sentence. What more? Finish that sentence.
What more could I have done?
To what?
To show him, to prove to him that I'm worthy, or to respect me.
What more could I have done to prove to him that I'm worthy? In other words, what more could I have done to keep him? So him leaving implies I'm not worthy. You brought the word worthy up. I haven't even used the word worthy today.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Talia didn't use the word worthy. Rob didn't use the word worthy. You brought up the word worthy. What more could I have done to prove that I am worthy? So in other words, by another person leaving you, I'm not worthy. That's the old message right there. He's ringing that fucking bell. So I am just curious as hell. Who was the very first person? How did you originally get the message that you somehow weren't worthy enough of love, to be loved?
Oh, that was my father. Absolutely.
And how was it conveyed, either explicitly or implicitly?
He just wasn't available, period. it was children are seen and not heard type thing. And yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And
he was
so if I'm
fairly
here,
absent in
very
the
absent.
house.
And so then
Very
the
absent.
little girl gets the message. What's the underlying message the little girl gets?
You have to work in order to get attention.
Right.
Or, what? Prove,
Right. Work to get attention.
work to get attention.
And attention means, and if I'm getting father's attention, mother's
Love.
attention, that equals love. That's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. And so you've worked, and in both situations with both husbands, and you built his business. I know what that is. My girlfriend presently took me from being I'd still be a writer no one had ever heard of. I swear to God. But she built 2 businesses around my work that are now mini global empires.
Yeah,
It
you're
is
thriving.
me.
Absolutely.
Oh, no, I'm a fucking moron. Trust me, I am. When it comes to business, I'm a fucking moron. So when you say that, I absolutely believe you. Okay? And what's fascinating is this notion that deep down, I've been doing it to prove that I'm worthy of love. And so to go further into all of this and to explore every last act. Oh, that text message was at 8 p.m., not 6 p.m. He was with her from 6 to 8 p.m. Every little one of those is a reminder, fuck you, you're not worthy. Every one of those is a how much more can I take? Every one of those. 1,000 years ago, the Chinese had a form of torture called Ling Shi. We know it by the name death by 1,000 cuts. They could keep somebody alive for over a year by just all of these little cuts. You were kept alive for 2.5 years. And now you're openly bleeding, and not from 2.5 years of cuts. You've been kept alive much, much longer from that deep, deep internal wound of you, little girl, are not worthy of my attention. You, little girl, far worse, are just not worthy of love. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Talia, tell me what it is about your 8-year-old that makes her innately unworthy of love.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, but Gwen believed when she was 7, when she was 9, when she was 11, somewhere in her, she believed that she was unworthy of love. So are you saying that your precious little princess is so much better than Gwen was when Gwen was 8?
Oh, absolutely not.
So then what are you saying about Gwen when she was 8?
I'm saying that Gwen and I both were worthy of love.
So then why wasn't Gwen and why weren't you getting the love that these supposedly wonderful girls were supposed to get and deserved? Why weren't you getting it?
Because our parents sucked.
And I didn't even have to say it. You fuckers don't need me. Just call up Talia. Gwen, you give her advice. Talia, you give her advice. Bingo, bongo. My work is done here. I didn't do a damn thing. They may be lovely people today, your parents, they may not be. But when we examine the evidence, how can an 8-year-old suck? Innately. It is it can't. Girls, you were these beautiful, smart as a whip, creative, cute, rambunctious, playful, punch a little boy in the nose if you had to, steal an extra cookie if you could, cranky if you didn't get your nap. You were normal, wonderful, beautiful little girls. And someone very powerful, or someone's very powerful, caused you to believe that you're not worthy of love. And it was untrue then, and it is untrue now, but you were taught to believe a lie. Now, knowing that and living that are two different things. And the way we go from just knowing that to actually believing that and living it is to go into then, as you are both, you wouldn't be here if you weren't open to doing that, is to going into then all the areas of your life where that played out and all the areas of your life where that was conveyed, and allowing up the pain, the fears, and the ancillary, the other bullshit beliefs you were taught about yourself. But that's the whopper right there, ladies. You are both taught that you are unworthy of, Talia, in your case, protection, fucking protection. In your case, Gwen, you were taught that you are unworthy of attention, of love. In both cases, it equates to love. It equates to worth. It equates to existence, mattering. I mean, what do you go? There's no worse message you can teach to a child than you don't matter. You don't even exist. You're better off teaching a child that they're bad. Bad implies it's a value judgment. You don't exist implies you don't even exist. You don't matter. It's not a good or bad. You just don't even exist. You're not worthy of love. Fuck me. And it was a lie. It's not your fault. You weren't the problem. It's not that you weren't good enough. And we can see then how that's going to play out, right? As we get into teen years, as you called it, daddy issues. But it's bigger than that. It's much bigger than that. Because in a way, if the daddy is doing that, what's the mommy doing? Where the fuck is she? Why is she not protecting me from daddy issues? Where the fuck is the grandparents? Or where the fuck is anybody at some point in the line teaching me? Because when you're a teenager, when you're in your 20s, you're still being run by that virus inside of you that believes that. So here we are at your ages, ladies, and it's like, whoa. But we can see how that would play out in relationships. So then if I have an empty love cup, let's say, right? Because I'm not worthy of love. So there's a gaping fucking hole in my love cup. So any that I give, it just goes right the fuck through me, right? So I constantly need fucking more. I need someone, just somebody wanting to be with me is confirmation of my worth. Think about it in your case, Gwen. Dad didn't want to even be with me. So to have someone that actually wants to be with me, just with me, fuck. You don't even have to be nice to me. You want to be with someone else once, that's okay. But the fact that you want to be with me is confirmation of my worth. Once you leave or turn your back on me, all of a sudden, all those voices come back up. See, you're not worthy. See, I'm no good. See, I'm unworthy.
Absolutely.
See, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what's fucking killing you. All those fucking messages, right? Right. And in your case, Talia, same thing. Someone's with me. And that's when we tolerate so much shit. That's when we allow someone, because the thought of not having that person and having to face the, right? So it's like, I'll tolerate shit. I'll even allow you to do bad things to me. Or maybe I'll look the other way. And I'm not saying either one of you has done this, but I'll look the other way when you do bad things to my kids. Or I'll let you take my money. Or I'll give my whole life serving you or whatever. And that's why you've maybe seen my videos or heard me talk about it. A woman's superpower, and it's true of a man too, or a non-binary, is when we're not afraid of being alone. When we've finally healed these voices inside, we don't mind being alone. Because once I don't mind being alone, guess what I'm not going to tolerate? Shit. Eating someone else's shit. I'm going to stand up for myself in relationships. Everybody talks about boundaries, but you're not going to hold a fucking boundary if you need someone to stay. Because they'll sense it. And it doesn't necessarily mean they're an evil person. It just means if someone's not holding a boundary, why would I? It doesn't even necessarily, now maybe they were bad guys. I'm not saying that. But you don't have to be a bad guy. If somebody's not holding you to the standard of, let's say, apologizing, they don't care. Okay, I guess I won't apologize. Right? And that's just a tiny little thing for some people, right? But if I so need you to stay because I need someone, I'm going to let go of my boundaries. So it's not about just holding boundaries. It's my sheer terror of not having someone because I am afraid of that storm. That person leaves. So what's the biggest question each of you still has at this point, having sort of gone into some of this today? What's the biggest question each of you still has at this moment? Talia?
My biggest question, I guess, now, which thanks to your book and your podcast and my therapist, I've not been in a relationship for the last 8 months, and it's been wonderful. And
The peace. Oh, the peace.
oh, the peace.
Yeah.
And learning about how much I did give of myself to the wrong people. And now I guess my question is, like, where do I go from here? And how am I going to get there without reopening and bleeding out?
And reopening what, 7 to 9?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My answer is this. If you're enjoying the peace, one of the things I tell people is if it's coming from a place of calm or peace, or it's creating calm or peace, or if it's coming from a place of exuberance or creating exuberance, it's authentic you.
Yeah.
If it comes from or creates anxiety, fear, distress, it's not you. Okay. So this calm is, regardless of what your children think they need right now, they need this because they need you to be the best you. That being said, so I personally would encourage you to stay in this state, but for you to ever, whether for your kids or for yourself, for you to choose a relationship now, quote unquote, for your kids, from where I'm sitting, based on what little I know, is a fucking horrible idea.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Right. You're in such a crippled position in your soul.
Yeah.
Because you're so, broken down, and we've exposed that your weekend, this hole still exists in your love cup. That has to be fucking healed. But most importantly, as I see it, you're still living in fear of your own self.
Yeah.
There's a portion of yourself that you fear. I could have gone there today, but with two of you in a show, that just wasn't. Do I personally think that can be healed and it doesn't have to take forever? Yes, I do think that. And do I think it can be done? Absolutely. Do I think it's scary? Yeah, you've told me it's scary. But it doesn't have to be overwhelming and intimidating. It's the same tools. It's the purging, it's the flushing, it's going into it. And I always tell my clients, especially if they say, well, I have X, Y, or Z that I don't want to talk about. I'm like, oh, guess what we're talking about today? Because it's just like, come on, you're making my work too easy here.
Right.
It's like, come on. It's because that's our blockage shit, man. And it's just like, where's your pain the greatest? Where's your fear the greatest? That's why I asked, Gwen earlier, what's the heaviest part? What's the hardest part? And she said, it's the betrayal and the life I thought I had wasn't reality. Okay, well, that's where we start digging. Let's go in there. Okay.
Yeah, that's a tough
piece
of meat to chew on. Yeah.
It is a tough meat to piece to chew on. Yeah, it's that. but you got to meet the piece to chew on that one to be the fullest you, because otherwise somebody from 35 years ago is still controlling you today.
Yeah.
You don't own you. And how can you be fully authentic and fully real and fully there for your kids if you're not even the captain of your own sort of enterprise? And to me, it's just like, fuck, man, let's go. Let's go. You can do this. And it's just like, what do? We stick out our chest, pin our ears back, and it's like, fuck it. Let's go. And I think healing is on the other. I know healing is on the other side of it, but it takes the courage to go in and keep going in and journal your fucking ass off and writing fucking letters. And it's the flushing. It's the flushing. And the asking yourself the question, why? What's really going on inside of me? What am I most afraid to look at? And let me tell you how you go into a 7 and 9 like you have, those ages where you think this stuff may be. What are the little things that I may remember? Even if it's just a color, even if it's just a sound, start small and write about that. All I fucking remember, fucking fathead Sven said a sound. Okay, I remember one sound. For some reason, I have this weird memory of a cat in the distance. I have no fucking idea what it is. This is fucking stupid. Sven's an idiot. Cat in the distance. Well, actually, it was in the distance. But I do remember it was night, though. Oh, guess what? We just got 2 memories there now. You pull those little fucking threads, and those little fucking threads yield another fucking thread. Maybe that second thread won't come for 3 weeks. Maybe it'll come in a fucking dream. Maybe whatever. But you got to be open to it. And just keep pulling. And then those memories are going to have emotional charges. You journal about those. That's how we decharge. And you welcome it. Because what you're really welcoming is those emotional charges, those feelings that have been locked in the vault are that little girl's authentic responses. What you're unlocking wasn't just what was done to you. It was your authentic self that you weren't allowed to feel, that no one wanted to hear. So you're fundamentally being introduced to your authentic self. She's showing you who you really were. And in exchange for her showing you who you really were, introducing you to the real you before you got shut down, in exchange, you're giving her her voice back. You're setting her free. It's this beautiful holding of hands. And it's you taking her, that little girl, and she's saying, you're a woman, please do this. I wasn't strong enough. And you're saying, I got you, sweetheart. I got you. No one's going to hurt you again. Let me get you out of here. Gwen, what's your question?
There's so many.
What's the biggest?
It's the intrusive stuff that plays out all the time. Just, trying to flush that out and get rid of that and stop playing that over and over, and how to get, all the texts and emails that I've read and, all the information and stuff like that.
All right. So I want to ask, this is the question I want to ask you. You just said it's the intrusive and the wanting to flush it out and to stop that. Okay, you basically said 2 things. Part of me wants to bring it up and get it out, but part of me wants to stop it. Okay, so that implies, and I could be reading it wrong, okay, that implies I kind of want to feel it because I know I have to get it out, but part of me doesn't want to feel it. What part of you doesn't want to feel it, and what part of you does?
Well, my heart wants to just heal, obviously. So, you gotta feel it in order to work through it. But it
hurts.
It hurts so freaking much.
So what part of you wants to and what part of you doesn't want to think about all that stuff and feel it all? Be honest. And you can't say 50-50. I hate 50-50.
Oh, percentages wise.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't want to feel it. I don't. It just hurts so much. So probably 80-20.
20% do and 80%
deal with it. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And so in a way, you're in the exact same boat as Talia. You both have this thing, this giant fat elephant sitting its fat ass right on your fucking head, and you can't breathe. And you know that you gotta, or probably gotta, fucking deal with this fat elephant sitting its fat ass right on your fucking head if you ever want to breathe again. And you just do. And you just do. Or you can self-medicate, pills, pot, booze, bulimia, fucking gaming, gambling, overworking, overparenting, overworking, whatever. Or at some point, you go in. In a way, it's the exact same question that Talia asked. And in a way, there's no shame if you don't. If you don't want it, don't do it, man. It's heavy shit. Or if you're not ready yet, don't. That's okay.
Yeah, that's the ready. It's the ready. Being ready for it.
And until you know, you don't know. In fact, go in the book and read the chapter on, it's later in the book. It's like 28 or some shit on you'll know. All right. I tell the story of my father going back up to the family farm. Read that chapter. Until you're ready. And maybe you'll just choose not to, and you'll just stuff it down and move on. And that's your choice. Do I recommend that? No, because what's underneath all of this, when you deal with all of this pain and flush it all out, what's underneath all of this for each of you in these two very different scenarios is this idea of worth. That if you dig down deep enough, both of you are struggling with the exact same issue, this idea of worthy. And if you dig down deep enough, now at your two junctures in life, you're two very different ages, but as you dig down and address finally the real root issue, now you are setting yourself up to be better parents to your kid, in your case, Gwen, kids, in your case, Talia, setting yourself up for better relationships with others, should you choose to go into love again, either of you, but most importantly, finally, a relationship with yourself where there is not that 500-pound bag of rocks on you that says you're not worthy. That's what you're really addressing. I know you think you're addressing the cheating. I know you think you're addressing the 7 to 9-year-old potential sexual molestation. Tell you that neither of you is really addressing that. What you're really addressing down below it all is I'm not worthy. And if you have the balls to go there and keep going there until it heals, everything changes. Everything changes. And framed within that framework, reading Love Cup is a completely different read. Doing those journaling exercises is a completely different journaling exercise. Reading Badass Wisdom is a completely different book. Listening to the podcast, it's completely different because now you know what your fucking root issue is. And bit by bit, even if you just pull little threads at one time, each time, you're chipping away at it. And bit by bit, you're pulling little pebbles out of that 500-pound bag of rocks. Well, 500 pounds is a finite amount. That means if you pull out enough pebbles, it's going to be 400 pounds. If you pull out enough pebbles, it's going to be 250 pounds. It's going to be until eventually it's 10 pounds. Well, fuck, I can do 10 pounds. I had 500-pound bag of rocks inside of me. And all of a sudden you begin to live with worth and you begin to have more spontaneous energy. You begin to see life clearly. You begin to truly fall in love with yourself in more than just words. You actually feel it. And that's what you are both being confronted with right now. The gods, the universe, God, whatever your fucking theology is or isn't, you are being confronted with the ultimate choice of your lifetime because now you know what the real issue is. Am I worthy? And do I have the balls to prove it to myself by finally healing my shit? And this is it. I want to thank you guys. You guys have been fucking awesome. Wow. This was amazing. Any final
twist?
I know everything fucking twisty turned there. That was fantastic. Talia, any final words for Gwen? Gwen, any final words for Talia?
Gwen, you got this, girl. Keep that man away.
Stay single, girl.
Both of you giving the same.
I think this is the common ground for this one. Stay single for a while.
I love it. I love it. Rob, you get the last word.
I can relate. You know, we've done approaching 300 shows, and there's certain similarities, but every show feels brand new and new revelations. And today I'm reminded of Neil Diamond's words through the Monkees and Smash Mouth. Now, I thought love was more or less a giving thing, but seems the more I gave, the less I got. What's the use in trying? All you get is pain.
Wow.
But see, you're showing us ways to all be believers, and we appreciate that.
Well, in the words of the Monkees, I'm a believer.
And Smash Mouth for you youngsters.
For the real youngsters. All right, I love it. Thank you again, ladies, for being on the show. Love it. And to all our listeners around the world, thank you for tuning in to yet another fantastic episode of the Badass Counseling Show. Love it.
Do you want to say have a kick-ass day?
And have a kick-ass day.
The Badass Counseling Show is strictly copyrighted. No copies may be made without the express written consent of the Badass Counseling Show, LLC. The Badass Counseling Show is produced by Karen Camparelli and Robert H. Friedman. Executive producer Sven Erlandson. Original music by two-time Emmy Award-winning composer Trevor Morris. Have a kick-ass day.